Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Central Virginia fishing report with Ethan Martin at TaleTellers Fly Shop. How you doing, Ethan?
I'm doing great today. How you doing today?
Just trying to stay out of trouble and shake off a cold, which I honestly just don't have time to have.
Yep, I get that.
So tell me about all of Santa and his little elves. I'm sure they're all busy in the shop. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, we've been pretty busy in the shop. A lot of like entry rods, that sort of stuff, been going out the doors. Sadly, some of the stuff we're sold out of. But we've been doing, if you spend $50 in the shop on anything, flies, fly tying, you name it, we have a giveaway that we're going through right now. So every $50 you spend, your name is put in a bucket. And then on December 24th, which is Christmas Eve, we're going to pull 3 names out. So one of the winners is going to win a Thomas & Thomas Zone rod. So it's like a $500 rod. And then a $100 gift card to TaleTellers. And then another person is going to be winning a rising net. So those have got people pretty amped up. Doesn't matter if you buy it online, if you come in the store, $50, every $50 you spend, you get your name put in a bucket. So like I said, it's that, and then just the holiday season has kept us really busy, which is kind of sad for me because usually busyness in the shop translates to less fishing time for me. But what can you do? I go when I can.
Yeah, there you go. And just to make sure everybody understands this, you're automatically entering folks in, so they don't have to remember to fill out anything or send you an email or tag you on social media.
Yeah, there's nothing that they have to remember. If they're doing this online, so if the purchase comes through online, then we automatically take their name and then the email contact or the phone that they put, and that's being put into the bucket. If they come inside the shop, then I'll, write down their name or write down their email or phone number. Some of the people I just straight up know who they are, so I'll just put their name in there because I've already got their numbers. But yeah, so it's pretty much an automatic entry. And, if we get to December 24th and we pull names, and within a week, if that person, I've emailed them and messaged them and everything, and they haven't responded, or they don't want the rod, for whatever reason, then we'll go ahead and we'll pull another name after a week. But I would highly assume that probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I would imagine that wouldn't happen either. And I think, too, the important thing to remind people, it's kind of crazy because we're recording this on December the 8th, and you and I were talking about this before we started recording.
Yep.
Don't wait to the last minute because people are having a harder time getting their hands on stuff this year.
Yep. And that's one of the things. So if somebody comes in the shop, I'm not like the craziest salesman trying to push people into everything all the time. I'm more like just trying to help you find what you need. But there are a lot of items that what we have in stock is what we're going to be having from now through Christmas. So like the youth kids rods, before Christmas, I bought every one that I could get my hands on. And then we've only got one left of that. Waders, that sort of stuff. A lot of your most common sizes, they aren't as available as what they usually are. So it is one of the things to create a sense of urgency is like you might not be able to get waders if you need waders and you're a large and you put it off for a couple of weeks, then you might not be able to have any waders, or you're going to have to get like an XL. And that's not just for me, that's going to be from pretty much any place that has waders. Everybody is somewhat coming down. And it's, is that COVID manufacturing, all that jazz, who knows? But that being said, it is the time to be looking at that stuff and finding what deals you can get. From wherever, if that's from us or from wherever else. Some products we've got really good inventory on, fly tying kits and vices, that sort of thing. So we're fine there. But there are select products that are hard to come by.
Yeah, absolutely. So folks, you owe it to yourself to shop a little bit earlier than usual this year, and we ought to talk about fishing, right? So,
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, so
enough about me.
Yeah, enough about you. But, so we've, in the mid-Atlantic, we've gotten a pretty good pop of cold air. And so I think that's probably pretty much put an end to the workman like easy smallmouth bite is probably making the muskie fishing a little bit better, and it's probably got everybody chasing trout.
Yep. You pretty much hit the nail on the head there in a nutshell format. We got a slight dusting of snow 2 days ago, something like that. So that will put a damper on pretty much the vast majority of the insect activity that we'll have, which will affect primarily trout. And then it's going to force those fish, smallmouth and all those other ones, more to their wintering holes, which makes as you said, the easy days, air quotes, of smallmouth. That's going to push that to the side for sure. They're going to be a little bit harder to come by. If you're just straight up floating the river for them, then you're going to be coming across a lot of just abandoned water or empty water where you're not going to find a fish for a couple of miles. So if you've got a jet boat, that makes life easier. But if you're waiting, that makes life a lot more difficult. So I would just tell you, if you're still thinking about smallmouth and you're waiting, then it is going to be a difficult season for you. You can come to some of the smaller tributaries of the James that aren't quite as large and then try and fish for them there. But again, it's not going to be incredibly easy fishing. Most of it's going to be dead drifting streamers or crayfish pattern, really slow on sinking lines, and you'll feel a very light tick, or if you don't feel it, you'll see your line just move ever so slightly, and that could potentially be a fish picking it up. But it's not a big numbers game. It's all just about finding those wintering holes. And one of the common questions I get from people is, how do you track down smallmouth wintering holes? And the easiest way, obviously, to do that is to fish. Like if I'm trying to find them on a new river, I'm going to go and I'm just going to cover as much water as I can. And when I come to some of those larger holes, I'll just sit there and kind of camp and see if I can catch anything. And I might have talked about this previously, but and then sometimes it depends on who I'm with, but like sometimes when I'm fishing with my dad, he'll throw a spinning rod and we'll see if we can pull a fish out with that. If you fish a hole and you fish with the fly rod, and then you have somebody fish it with a spinning equipment, just bouncing the bottom, and you don't catch a fish, then you need to move on because there's going to be another place that they're going to be at. So it all depends on the river, like I said. But in terms of finding those wintering holes, most of that does just boil down to putting the time in. There's very rarely are you going to have a person that's going to be willing to offer up that jewel of information. And depending on where you fish, it might be pretty easy to spot. But you got to just spend the time to get out there and to either float and paddle or do a jet boat. Like I probably wouldn't spend a lot of time waiting for a smallmouth right now. But then, as you said, on the muskie side of things, there have been people that have been catching them or at least seeing them that last full moon that we had. That for whatever reason they always seem to wake up around then. I'm sure somebody knows a better answer to that than I do. I've heard many theories, but that's been good. But from the rains and from the snows, for all that stuff accumulated, we do have a little bit higher water right now on the James and a lot of the tributaries than normal. So if you are going, just be aware of that, that a lot of that water is going to be higher than usual, which is nice. But if you aren't prepared for that, you're going to be going a little bit faster than usual down the river.
Yeah, absolutely. Might be a good idea to maybe wait till the weekend too, right?
Yeah. Just let that stuff come down a little bit. And looking at our forecast, I think it said Friday and Saturday we're supposed to be in the 60s both days. So I know you've said it 100 times on these things with me, at least. It's well, maybe not 100 times. That's a slight exaggeration, but we're fishermen anyway. So, but anyways, this might be some of the last 60-degree weather we get of 2020, at least for the foreseeable, 2, 3, maybe 4 months. Hopefully not 4 months. But so if you are even slightly considering getting out this weekend, I would say do it, because you're probably not going to find a weekend where you've got 2 60-degree days in a row. And on the smaller streams, most of our brook trout are finished spawning, so you can go up there and just be careful where you're waiting. We call it rock hopping. So just a lot of people do it anyway, but going from rock to rock rather than kind of wading through the holes to avoid potential fry or potential eggs. And if it's a 60-degree day, those fish will be willing to eat dry flies. So I would be fine throwing a dry dropper and just more attractor style patterns than precise imitations, because the insects that would be hatching right now are going to be smaller midges, blueing olives, that sort of stuff, which are really tiny. So I would spend more time just throwing a decent size, like let's say a size 12 or 14, maybe 10 if you feel like throwing that, dry, and then dropping a nymph off the back of that. In terms of the nymphs, again, it's going to be a tractor style pattern. So you could use an egg, a worm, squirm worm, whatever like that. I've been using or I do a lot of times through the winter, is small bait fish imitations. So like little tiny minnows, essentially. So you can make that whatever you want, but I like it in like a size 10 or 12 even. I've got one I've caught a lot of fish on it. I call it the mini motos, and that basically it's like a smaller motos minnow. So they're really easy to tie. It's just partridge, and then like tiny woolly buggers, that sort of thing. And I like them as small as I can get them. And to be honest, even some small caddis imitation, just like a soft tackle with olivey colors to it, I fish those as well, because I think that a lot of those fish are taking them as minnows this time of the year through the winter, because there's not as many active insects subsurface, and they do seem to take them pretty aggressively, which to me thinks that they think it's minnow that could potentially swim away, so they whack it pretty hard, which is cool. And that's going to be true on whichever river you're fishing if it's a trout stream. So, like I said, smaller bait fish or minnow imitations do really well.
Yeah. So, folks, again, I'll repeat what I have said, maybe not quite 100 times. It's not.
Yeah, maybe not quite 100.
Not quite 100 times, but
I caught myself on that one.
Yeah, fair enough. The not quite 100 times, but it's definitely going to be warmer when it's in the 60s this weekend than it's going to be in January and February, particularly in Central Virginia, because it's always windy. And folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. If you send them to us on our Facebook or Instagram page, if we read them, I'll send you some articulate fly swag, and you'll get into the drawing that we'll draw for in early 2021 for something cool from the shop. And Ethan, before I let you hop, why don't you let folks know your holiday hours and how to find you and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, so we're in the shop from Monday to Saturday. So the only day that we are closed is Sundays. So you can always come in the shop. Pretty easy to get to. We're in downtown Lynchburg, Virginia. If you can't make it to the shop, then you can find the majority of our inventory online on our website, which is TaleTellersVA.com. We've been working pretty diligently on trying to get photos and all that jazz of everything, every product in the store up online, so you know what you're getting. If you have a question about a product or fishing in our area, anything like that, then you can always give us a call or Instagram message. I try to answer those as much as I can. Just the main thing that I tell people is I'm trying to answer phone calls as quickly as I can. I usually take priority of the people that are in the shop. So if you give me a ring and I don't answer, I'll call you back for sure. So like I said, there's a lot of ways you can get in contact with us. And any which way you do it, if you spend $50 in the store, online or in the store, then you get entered into the giveaway that will be announced. 3 different winners, December 24th. So if you're going to get something, I'd get it before then.
Yeah, there you go. And folks, this is our last Central Virginia fishing report for 2020. So, in addition to encouraging you to go fish this weekend when it's a little bit warm, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, Ethan.
Merry Christmas.